Has this ever happened to you? You lie down on your bed. Not collapsing into it, not exhausted in a dramatic way, just tired enough to stop moving. The lights go off. And the room changes the moment they do. The walls feel closer, the air feels heavier, your body sinks into the mattress. Your shoulders drop, your breathing finally slows. There's that brief moment, right before sleep, where everything loosens. Your jaw unclenches, your hands relax, and you think, quietly, okay, today's done. No more replying, no more reacting, no more holding yourself together. For a few seconds, it works. Then something shifts. Not sharply, not suddenly. It's subtle. Your mind doesn't slow down. It steps forward. Thoughts begin to surface, not as clear sentences, but as fragments. A face you didn't expect to remember. A moment that felt small at the time, but suddenly feels heavy. A conversation from years ago. Something you said, something you didn't. You don't chase these thoughts. They come to you. You turn to the other side of the bed. Pull the blanket up a little higher. Close your eyes tighter, as if effort could push them away. It doesn't. The silence thickens. It's not peaceful anymore. It feels watchful. And then the first question appears, quiet, but unsettling. Why does my mind get louder only when everything else goes quiet? Nothing bad happened today. No crisis. No argument. No bad news waiting on your phone. So why does your chest feel tight? Why does rest feel uncomfortable? Another thought slips in, almost gently. If nothing is wrong, why does it feel like something is? You don't panic. You don't spiral. You just lie there, awake, listening to your own thoughts move around in the dark, like they've been waiting for you to finally stop. Before I explain what's really happening, stay with me till the end of this. Not because there's a trick, not because there's some dramatic reveal waiting, but because by the end, you might recognize something about yourself you've felt for years but never understood. Here's the truth most people never hear. Night doesn't create these thoughts. It reveals them. I didn't understand this for a long time. There was a period in my life where, on paper, everything looked fine. I was busy, productive, moving forward. If someone had asked me how I was doing, I would have said, I'm good. And I believed it. But almost every night, the moment I lay down, my mind would turn inward. Not violently, not dramatically, quietly. I'd replay conversations that were years old. Moments I thought I had moved past. Small decisions that suddenly felt heavy. I remember staring at the ceiling thinking, why now? Why does this only happen at night? During the day, I felt functional, focused, in control. At night, I felt exposed. That's when I realized something uncomfortable. All day, I wasn't calm. I was distracted. Noise, movement, tasks, people, all of it kept my attention outward. Night took that away, and when it did, my mind finally had space to speak. Not to punish me, not to scare me, but to say the things I never gave time to hear. And that led me to a question that changed how I see night anxiety. What if your night thoughts aren't the problem, but the message you kept postponing all day? Because when the world goes quiet, whatever you've been avoiding doesn't disappear. It waits, and night is when it finally gets your attention. Something changes in your mind when the world goes quiet. You don't feel it happen all at once. There's no clear moment where you can say, this is when it started. It's gradual. Your body is still, your eyes are closed, and without realizing it, your thinking slows. Not your thoughts, your control, the part of your mind that organizes things, that labels them, that explains them away. It gets tired. All day, it's been working, making decisions, solving problems, holding things together. At night, it loosens its grip. And when that happens, another part of you steps forward. Memory, emotion, association. This is why night thoughts don't arrive neatly. They come as images, sensations, fragments. One memory leads to another, even when they don't seem related. A feeling from years ago suddenly connects to something that happened today. And before you know it, you're not thinking about what you need to do tomorrow. You're thinking about who you are, where you're going, whether the life you're building actually feels like yours. Questions surface quietly. Why does this still affect me? Why can't I let this go? Am I really okay, or just functioning? And here's the part that matters. Why do the questions that scare you the most never show up when you're busy? Because busyness acts like insulation. It keeps deeper thoughts at a safe distance. Silence removes that insulation. At night, your mind isn't trying to solve problems. It's trying to understand patterns. Patterns in your emotions, patterns in your choices, patterns you've been too distracted to notice. That's why night thoughts feel heavier. They're not random, they're focused. Darkness isn't the source of the fear. Exposure is. At night, the world stops asking things from you. No emails, no expectations, no reactions. And without those demands, there's nothing left to hide behind. During the day, you're constantly becoming something for someone. competent, helpful, strong. Okay, at night, those roles fall away. And what's left is you. Not the version you show people, the one underneath. That's why it feels uncomfortable. Because there's no performance, no validation, no reassurance. The mask comes off, and what you meet isn't broken. It's unfinished, unspoken emotions, unanswered questions, versions of yourself that never fully formed. That heaviness in your chest. It's not danger, it's awareness without distraction. And awareness can feel overwhelming when you're not used to sitting with it. Here's the question Night quietly asks: who are you when no one needs anything from you? That question doesn't shout. It doesn't demand an answer. It just sits there, waiting. Most people don't answer it. They reach for their phone. They turn on noise. They distract themselves. Because stillness feels risky. But stillness isn't harmful. It's revealing. It shows you what's been waiting under the surface. Not to scare you, but to be acknowledged. And once you see that, the darkness feels less threatening. Not lighter, but more honest. The unconscious mind doesn't arrive with explanations. It doesn't announce itself. It seeps in, a tightness in your chest that doesn't have a name, a restlessness that won't let your body settle, a feeling that something is wrong, without anything actually being wrong. That's what confuses people, because real danger has a shape. It has a cause, a story, a reason. This doesn't. You might even tell yourself, I'm just overthinking. But overthinking is loud. This isn't loud. This is quiet discomfort. And quiet discomfort is harder to escape. Because you can't argue with a feeling. You can distract yourself from thoughts. You can't distract yourself from sensations. So you lie there, noticing it. The tight chest, the shallow breathing, the urge to move, even though you're exhausted. And then fear adds another layer. What if this means something is wrong with me? But here's the truth most people never consider. The unconscious isn't attacking you. It's communicating. It doesn't use language. It uses feeling. Because feelings don't need permission. They surface when words have been postponed too long. All day, you delay them. I'll think about this later. I don't have time for this. It's not that serious, and maybe it isn't urgent. But it doesn't disappear. It waits until the world goes quiet, until there's nothing left to distract you. And then it rises, not screaming, just present. So here's the reframe that changes everything. What if the discomfort isn't danger, but something unfinished asking for attention? When you stop treating it like an enemy, it softens, because it was never there to hurt you. It was there to be heard. Daytime feels safer for a reason. It gives you structure, and structure gives you identity. You know who you are because you know what you're doing. You wake up with a purpose. There's somewhere to go, something to complete. Movement gives you momentum, and momentum feels like control. During the day, your mind stays outward. It reacts, it solves, it performs, and as long as you're moving, you don't have to look inward too closely. That's not avoidance, that's protection. But night removes that protection. No schedule, no tasks, no one watching, just stillness. And in that stillness, the questions return. Not because you're weak, but because there's space now. Here's the question that quietly appears: if you're not doing anything, who are you then? That question feels heavy, because identity built on activity disappears when activity stops. You're no longer your productivity. You're no longer your role. You're no longer your progress. You're just you, and that can feel unsettling. So most people avoid that moment. They stay busy, they stay distracted, they stay exhausted, because exhaustion feels safer than exposure. But here's the truth: daytime doesn't heal you, it hides you, and night removes the hiding place. Not to punish you, to show you what still needs attention. Let this land slowly, not as a quote, not as something to remember, just as something to sit with. Daytime hides you from yourself. Night introduces you. During the day, you're protected. Protected by noise, by movement, by things that need your attention. You don't have time to feel too deeply. You don't have space to question too much. And that's not a failure. That's survival. Daytime gives you structure. Structure gives you distance. Distance from feelings that don't have clear answers. Distance from questions that don't have solutions yet. But night removes that distance. At night, there's no one to perform for. No version of yourself you need to maintain. You're not productive. You're not impressive. You're not doing well or falling behind. You just exist. And in that space, the parts of you that were pushed aside finally step forward. Not to accuse you, to introduce themselves. That's why night feels personal. Because it's not showing you something new. It's showing you something familiar that you haven't looked at in a long time. Something unfinished, something unresolved. And that can feel heavy. Because it removes excuses. You can't blame stress. You can't blame the world. It's just you, meeting yourself without distractions. That's not fear, that's recognition. And recognition is uncomfortable when you're not used to being honest with yourself. Most people think night anxiety means something is wrong. that their mind is broken, that they're overthinking, that they should just relax. But night fear isn't random. It has direction. It shows up around the same themes, the same questions, the same emotional weight. That's because it isn't trying to scare you. It's trying to point. Night anxiety is a signal, not an emergency. A signal that something inside you has been waiting for attention. Not action, not solutions, just acknowledgement. During the day, you postpone it. I'll deal with that later. I don't have time for this right now. It's not that important, and maybe it isn't urgent. But it doesn't disappear, so it waits until the world goes quiet, until there's nothing else competing for space. And then it rises, not screaming, just present. That tightness in your chest, that restlessness, that's not danger. That's something unfinished asking to be noticed. And here's the part that changes everything. The fear isn't asking you to fix your life tonight. It's asking you to stop ignoring yourself, to stop running, to stop numbing, to sit with what you've been avoiding without trying to solve it. That's why the fear softens when you stop fighting it. It was never the enemy. It was the messenger. So tonight, when this happens again, because it probably will, when you're lying there in the dark and your thoughts start circling, don't rush to escape. Don't grab your phone. Don't force sleep. Don't distract yourself immediately. Just pause and ask, quietly, not out loud, not dramatically, just honestly, what is my mind trying to show me now that nothing is distracting me? You don't need an answer. In fact, answers come later. What matters now is noticing. Noticing what keeps returning. Noticing what feels heavy. Noticing what you've been postponing. Is it a feeling you never processed? A decision you avoided? A version of yourself you're afraid to face? You don't need to judge it. You don't need to fix it. You just need to let it exist without pushing it away. That alone changes the experience. Fear loses its sharp edge when it's seen clearly. And here's the strange thing. The moment you stop fighting the night, it stops fighting you. The thoughts slow down, not because they're gone, but because they've been heard. The night isn't cruel. It isn't trying to trap you. It isn't punishing you for something. It's honest, and honesty feels terrifying only when you've been running from it. Most people spend their lives avoiding quiet moments. They stay busy, they stay distracted, they stay numb, because silence feels like exposure. But exposure isn't harm, it's contact. Contact with yourself without filters, without excuses, without noise. And once you understand that, the dark changes. It doesn't disappear, it doesn't suddenly become peaceful, but it stops chasing you. Because you're no longer running. You're not trying to silence your thoughts. You're letting them pass without grabbing onto them. You're not demanding answers. You're allowing awareness. And awareness, handled slowly, loses its power to scare you. So the next time the world goes quiet, and your mind feels heavier than usual, remember this: nothing is wrong with you. You're not broken. You're just meeting yourself without distractions. And that meeting, as uncomfortable as it is where understanding begins. Not fear, understanding. And that's enough to let the night loosen its grip.